are all going to be outside on those nice cushy chairs right outside after this session to answer your questions. If you have a burning marketing question, if you want to keep your web marketing person honest, if you are so blown away by something Monica says or something Hans says, you can access them right after this session. I strongly encourage you to do that. You're not paying for it other than what you paid for in your time and money to be here at the expo. Take advantage of it. Some of us charge upwards of $500 an hour for consulting sessions. You're going to get some free consulting right now, and that's great. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover the entirety at the very high level of websites, how to have a great web presence, how to do social media. Hans has got some great stuff to show you about some of the newest on the edge things that he's doing with video and social media. Monica is an expert. I should mention, by the way, that Hans has his own tree care company, okay? So getting web marketing advice from a web expert who has his own tree care company, awesome, okay? Monica is a licensed arborist. She has a full-scale web marketing agency that does everything from websites to search to SEO to social, and I myself, I run the company Market Hardware. We've got about 20 people located outside of Washington, D.C. We do the same as Monica. We manage websites, build them, run SEO programs, get people on page one of Google. So what's great is you're going to get some opinions and some views from two people that do this full-time for tree care companies. Not just anybody, but for tree care and green industry folks. And from somebody who's in your business who's doing some extra special stuff. Okay, great. So with that said, I'm going to turn this over to Monica in just a bit. Most important thing, ask questions, write something down, ask in the session or afterwards. We're going to do our very best to kick right through this conversation. So let me before I turn it over to Monica, here's where we are. You guys are the smartest, luckiest, most wonderful people in the tree care industry. And the reason I say that is because you're here this morning. So you have an advantage instantly above everybody else, all of your competitors, okay? Number one, you care about your web marketing, unless you're here for a CEU. Number two, you're going to learn some tricks of the trade right now that you can either deploy yourselves on your own if you have the time, or that you can find a professional to do. Number three, you're going to learn how to keep your either internal people, yourself, or an outside marketing vendor honest, okay? Because we're going to give you some hard-hitting reasons why you need to question what you're doing and make sure that your website and your web marketing plan are up to snuff. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to Monica. Monica, we got a lot of stuff we can talk about, websites, web presence, and so forth, so I'm going to turn it right over to you. Either way.
I'm just going to go and do this here. So, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here so bright and early. I'm going to be talking about websites. All right? I could be talking about a ton of different things, but I'm going to focus specifically on what you can do with your own website to get more customers. Because ultimately, with a website, that's the goal, isn't it? Bring in more business for your company. So who here has a website for their, all right, pretty much everybody. And who here could use some more customers, clients, a bit more business for their company? All right, great. You're in the right place. That's what we're going to be covering today. So when you think about your website, most of us think about it as something extra that we do. It's a marketing thing out there. What I want you to do is think about it like any other business asset that you invest in. So this is, well, obviously a chipper. I'm sure most of you have invested in a chipper at some point in your life. Would you buy this chipper, use it for 3 or 4 years, and never service it? No. Would you buy it, put it in the yard, turn it on and off a few times, tell everybody about it, think about how wonderful it is, and you never actually use it? No, right? What a complete waste of money. Yet somehow that is exactly what many of us do with our websites. We get all excited about it, we put up a few blog posts, we tell everybody about it, and then we're like, well, we're busy running our business, that's just a website, I'm going to leave it. And 3 or 4 years later, you haven't done anything with it, and you wonder why there are no customers coming from your website. Sound familiar? I see a lot of people kind of nodding, right? So what I'm going to be talking about today is the 5 things that you should be doing with your website, and these are things that you can do yourself or your webmaster can do. There are a ton of other things you can do, but if you just do these 5 things, you're going to be positioning yourself very well with your website to start bringing in more customers through that online presence. Now there is a handout that you should have. It's a 4-pager, says does your website measure up? There's a ton of stuff on that I'm not covering today, obviously in 12 minutes. It's kind of a checklist. So as you go and look at your website yourself or with your team or your webmaster, go through, and the more things you can check off on that checklist, the more effective your website is likely to be. If you can't check off many of those things, it's time to reevaluate what you're doing with your website. So just to let you know, on the last page there are also some resources for you that I'll be talking about. You can go to those websites to get more information. All right, so your website is like a chipper. 5 things to do. Number 1, so think about it. If somebody comes to your website tomorrow and they see this, do you think they're going to turn into a customer? Right. Now, this is something that happens a lot to small business websites, and it's something we don't like to think about, but security is the number 1 thing that you should be concerned about with your website before you do anything else, because if it gets hacked, if it goes down, it can't do you any good. It's like blowing up your chipper. It's not going to do anything for you. So security, a couple of things to think about. The first is hosting. I bet most of you are probably looking for the cheapest hosting provider you can find, but this really is a case of you get what you pay for. You're probably going to need to invest a little bit more in hosting to go with a company that provides great security. They have firewalls in place, encryption, great speed, and most importantly, they back up your website each and every day. So if something goes wrong with a click of a button, you can restore your website as it was yesterday, last week, last month. Right? So if you're not sure, ask your host about that. And I recommend a company called WP Engine to give you a benchmark. That's $29 a month. I can get you a discount, so you can see me afterwards if that's of interest to you. But that's an example of a WordPress hosting company that does a great job with security. The other thing is, make sure that your website is not easily hackable, because believe it or not, people are out there just for fun trying to hack into small business websites. And so talk with your webmaster about the code that's being used behind the scenes and make sure it's clean. They'll know what that means. You want to have as little code as possible to do what you need to do. Most websites these days are bloated. There's all sorts of crap in there that you don't actually use, and it's a window for a hacker to get into your website. Okay? And regularly update it. There are updates coming up for websites and for functionality really every week. The longer you let that go, the more likely your site is going to be vulnerable, so keep updating it. All right, so lecture over on security. So you've got your security in place. The next thing is people are looking for you online. And the question is, can they find you and your services? Right, so is your website findable? That's the second thing to look at. And that's where we start talking about search engine optimization, or SEO. And you've probably had a ton of people calling you or emailing you, offering or guaranteeing you, I'll get you on the front page of Google. All you have to do is pay me money and you'll be #1, right? Anytime somebody guarantees you first page placement on the Google search results, run fast, right? There is no way to really guarantee that. We can do a lot of things to get you there, but you can't guarantee it. And the companies that are doing that, many of them are taking a lot of shortcuts, charging you a lot of money, and in the short term, it may bump you up the results. But search engine optimization is a long run game. It is not something you do overnight. And so what you can focus on yourself are some things you can do on your website. And the #1 thing is what you write about on your website, how you say things. So if you think about it, you offer a lot of services that your customers don't understand. Think about something like cabling and bracing, right? Do you think they're online typing in, I need cabling and bracing services in Omaha? No, they've never heard of it. They're concerned about their tree looks like it might split in half, or maybe they've got a giant oak with some long limbs and they're concerned that one of them might fall off, right? So think about what your customers are looking for online in their own words. What are the problems they're trying to solve? those are the words you're going to use on your website. Not cabling and bracing, it's tree splitting, limbs falling, whatever it is that they're searching for. And you're going to write content about that, about how you solve their problem. In the long term, what will happen is your website will start to move up the search results because you are providing the answers to the questions that people are looking for. So Google considers that great content, you're answering, you're helping, and up it goes. The reason we do this is because ultimately you want to bring down the amount of money you're spending on ads, right? You spend money on AdWords to show up at the top of the search results. If you can show up at the top of the search results just by the content you're providing on your website, you can bring your ad spend down, all right? So you're trying to balance those two things. So you've made your website findable, and there are a ton of other things you can do for SEO, and that's on your handout. There's a lot of technical things. There's a lot of other things you can do on your website. Obviously, I can't go into all of them this morning. So once it's findable, how do you know your website is working? How do you know it's bringing in customers for you? And this is an area where most business owners sort of drop the ball. Their website isn't measurable, or the results aren't measurable. What do I mean by measurable? Do you know how many people are coming to your website? Do you know where they're coming from? Do you know how long they stay on each page? Do you know if they call you when they're on your website or fill out a form? Do you know if they become a customer? Do you know the dollar value of the job they hired you to do? Ultimately, what you're trying to do is measure the return on investment of your ad spend, your social media spend, or whatever you're doing on your website. So how many dollars are you spending there? What path are people taking from where they find you all the way through your website until they become a customer? And is that investment less than the money you're making on your customers through your website? Ultimately, that's what you want, right? But unless you're measuring it, you have no idea if that's the case. It's like sticking material into the front end of a chip where nothing's coming out the back end. And you're thinking, I believe it's working. I'm sure it must be working, right? You wouldn't do that unless you have evidence that something is coming out the other end. You know it's broken or it's jammed or something. It's the same with your website. If you can't see those results coming out, it's probably not working. So how do you do that? There are 3 things you want to put on your website. You want to install Google Analytics. You want to install some kind of call tracking. So that tells you who's calling from your website, where they're calling from. And if you're doing anything on Facebook, you want to install the Facebook tracking pixel. If you don't know what those are, talk to your web person and make sure that these 3 things are on your website, because without them, you cannot track the path people are taking through your website or who's becoming a customer, or if the money you're spending online is actually getting you a positive return. Right, so just those 3 things, they're simple to put on your website and they make a huge difference. Then, you wouldn't use equipment that looked like this, right? Yet many websites kind of look like that. They've been sitting around for a while. They're a little out of date. Think about a website. You go, you see the copyright notice at the bottom. It says copyright 2013, Acme Tree Service. Are they still in business? Have they just stopped doing anything with their website? Doesn't look like a very credible company if they haven't updated it in 3 years. So that's just a little thing, but it makes a difference. So look at that copyright notice on the bottom of your website and make sure it says 2016. The About Us page, that is the most frequently visited page on most websites. Is it up to date? The guy you fired 2 years ago, is he still there on that web page as part of your team? Does it say, hey, I started my business 10 years ago in 2000? Oops, you know. So make sure that that page always reflects the current state of your business, because that's the page people go to take a look and see, are you a credible, legitimate business before they decide to hire you? The other thing is blogs. Many people blog or try to. The last blog post was December 14th, 2015. You know, that doesn't look so good. So if you can't blog regularly, and you know that's not something everybody can do, then take the dates off your blog posts. So it doesn't look like you haven't updated it in 1 or 2 years. No one needs to know that. So take the dates off. People always say, I don't have time to blog. I bet if you sat down and you thought through every question that your customers have asked you about trees, you know, pruning, the impact of drought, pests and diseases that affect your trees. You can come up with a long list of questions. That's your blog content. Answer those questions, just like you would when you're talking to your customer, except you write it down and you post it online. You probably have several years worth of content right there. It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be long. Okay. And then always keep it technology up to date. Last thing, design. Now this is the thing that most people focus on first. They want a good looking website. My advice to you is look at that last. You need to have security in place. It needs to be findable. You need to have tracking and measurements in place. You need to have great content, and then design will make a difference. Good design can't save a crappy website. So do it last. Couple of quick things to look for. Phone number. I can't tell you how many websites you look at it, you've no idea how to phone this person. Top right, biggest font you can put it in that doesn't look really stupid. Okay? Don't hide it on the Contact Us page or down in the footer, put it right up there. People want to be able to reach out to you. So if somebody's looking at your website 10 o'clock at night, how are they going to, they're not going to call you. So you need to have some kind of request an estimate form or request a quote. Not just a Contact Us, but specifically request an estimate. Put a button on every page that's linked to a form that they can contact you, and then you just reach out to them the next day. Make the site look the way people expect. That means the navigation or the menu bar would go across the top. Don't get fancy, put it down the side, make a tree, and apples on a tree are your menu items or something. People have no idea what to do with that. Make it simple, put it across the top. You know, you go to websites and this font is so small you need to wear your glasses to read it, or at least I do. Modern web design is using much larger font sizes, 15 to 16 point font. And I'll bet most people's websites are a lot smaller than that. So take a look and see about increasing that. Make sure it's dark font on a light background, because you can't read it the other way around. Eliminate all distractions. You know, those flashing images and those rotating or slider images on the front page. Business owners love them. Research shows those just tank your conversion rates. Don't do it. Put static image or video you can do on the home page, and do not, please, ever click on the page, it opens up, and this tacky jingle starts playing. Now, I'm not saying if any of you have a jingle playing that is tacky, but it's something that most people will go, click, they're gone. So don't have those sorts of distracting things on your website. It has to be mobile friendly these days, otherwise it won't show. And make sure every web page has a purpose and a clear call to action. The thing you want somebody to do on that page. Call us today, request an estimate, see more of our work, learn about Emerald Ash Borer, whatever it is, every page has to have a purpose. Otherwise, you've just wasted their time and yours in putting it up.
What does CTA stand for, I'm sorry?
Sorry, call to action.
Thank you.
Okay, and that is the website 101 in a little more than 10 minutes. We're here all day, booth 903. I also have for you an article if you are interested. So get your cell phone out and send me a text, and you would send it to 44222. Send me the word TCIA 2016. And I will send you, it'll automatically send you an article on the top 10 website mistakes that tree care companies make, and that I hope none of you are going to make after reading that. All right, so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
All right, that was terrific. 8:24, we're moving right along. By the way, Monica knows what she's doing. If I were to give those very same slides, those were the exact same things that I would have said. So every single thing that she wrote down there are things you should be taking a look at with your website. Because the simple fact is, Hans can do the greatest social media and video-oriented things possible. I can do the greatest job of running an SEO campaign, getting you on page 1 of Google, asking Monica, of course. But it all doesn't matter if it goes to a website that sucks, okay? And I say that because there are a lot of them out there that do. And essentially, if you don't have that call to action, if there's not a clear statement of what the user is supposed to do. If there's not the phone in the upper right-hand corner, all of these things that Monica just said are must-haves, okay? So you need to be an internet have, not an internet have-not. She's just giving you the roadmap. Whether you do it yourself, you have Monica do it, you have your web developer do it, you have Hans or I do it, these things are things you have to do. Because the next step here is marketing yourself. And so picking up from where Monica was, when you're marketing your website, the biggest thing you want to do is drive new leads and retain clients with your web marketing strategy, right? So let's see, is this thing going off? Who's controlling this? Are you? All right, great. You are, hold on. Okay, great. So you control it, I'll talk. So the number one question we all hear from our clients, from folks at conferences and so forth, at a booth, a one-on-one free consultation we might give, is how do you get your phone to ring more often, okay? And the answer is marketing, constant marketing. There are a lot of ways to do marketing, and you can never let up. If you're super busy, that's the exact time to continue marketing. That's not from someone who wants you to spend more money. That's from someone who has seen over 10 years people go through the peaks and valleys of your business. And so one of the key things to market on a consistent basis is Google, okay? Because it's one of the things that's going to help you drive getting your phone to ring more often. Now, whether you're buying ads on Google or you're SEOing yourself so you can show up on page 1 of Google, or you figured out how to be on the maps section or that local listing section of Google, any of those are the things that are going to help you bring in business, okay? So it's important, even though you've seen this a million times, that we differentiate, okay? B here on the screen, these are the paid results. This is an everyday, stock market like auction for ads, and you're bidding for ads. You all know this, or someone has done this for you. It can be the most incredibly efficient way to pull in business. Because the bottom line is, you say how much you will pay for an ad, you only pay when the ad is clicked, and you can figure out pretty quickly using call tracking, pixel tracking, platforms that we all use in the business to track performance, and you can very quickly come up with what is your cost per click, what is your cost per call, and is that working for you? The great news is you can place ads in the different parts of your services where you make the most money. If you're making the most money from stump removal, great, run ads there. Chances are ads on stump removal are a lot less expensive than tree removal, but they're going to have different profitability levels, right? So you can understand exactly how much to invest. If this is not for you, find someone who knows how to do it, okay? I'm a little stronger this morning than I would be if I had an hour-and-a-half session on my own. Find someone who knows how to do it. If you have the time, you're all very bright. You can go onto Google, take their tutorials, spend your time on doing this, and if you want to do it at 1 a.m. after you finished a long day, be my guest. Chances are you're better off delegating this to your aunt, uncle, son, daughter, Monica, Hans, me, Casey, Alon, whoever it is, someone who knows how to do this. Now, Section C we're going to talk about in just a moment, okay? Section A is the local listings. And that Monica talked about being found. You have to be found. The local section of what will ultimately be Apple, Facebook, and Google are all the most important places to be. And whether it is local search, as in your town, tree care, Baltimore, Maryland, tree removal, coming up on that map, coming up high on Section C there, and then also potentially also having an ad. I want you to be in all 3 places. If you can afford it, when that comes up, I want you to be in 3 places. You're going to look that much better, okay? There are measurable investments that you can make for this. Now, each of these sandboxes requires a different strategy, all right? And so what you want to do is talk to your web marketing people, or ask yourself in the mirror, or ask one of us, which of these is more important for you. It will depend on your business. It'll depend on where you're ranking right now, and on what your strategy is, if you're short-term, medium-term, or long-term, okay? On a short-term basis, you can buy ads all day long, and you can make them work or not work. If they don't work, you stop. On a long-term basis, if you do SEO, which Monica mentioned, which is something that we both specialize in, what you're doing is you are changing content on your site, you are getting inside the site to make changes on a consistent basis, and you're just doing some things outside of your site to make sure that Google and the other search engines think that you are relevant, okay? So the key here is not only to have a great website with all the right ingredients, but to keep working on it on a consistent basis so that Google and your end customers or prospects recognize that the lights are on, you're home, you care about your business, you care about your website, because as Monica said, what your website is a reflection of you. If your website's old and tired, you're old and tired. If you haven't updated in a while, you don't care about your business. But if you updated it last week and it looks fresh, then guess what? You're one of the best games in town, if not the best game. So many people will spend money on other parts of their business and will underinvest in internet marketing. It's absurd. It's everybody's individual choice. That's what I guess makes America great, right? Okay, so let's talk about the thing that you have to keep the lights on all the time, which is search optimization. It's a practice that needs to be done on a regular basis. And what you're going to do is you're going to be doing some things on your site and underneath your site, because Google cares about what's underneath the hood. All right? It's not just the stuff that's outside. It's the content, as Monica talked about. But it's also certain things called key phrases that you insert into your content and into special places that Google is looking to see how highly to rank you. Okay? Because ultimately, your website needs to tell Google what it is you care about, and then Google will put that into their formula of 10,000 things that they're tracking. But I guarantee you, one of the things that they are tracking is the words in certain places on your website. So there's things called header tags, which is the stuff that, and title tags, which are the things that you see when you open up a browser and you see it in the top, you see it in a tab, or you see it in a search result when you pull it up, or they may be the most important things that are on your website. So the individual content and what that content says matters. So if you're just blathering on about yourself, but you're not saying, we do tree removal in Glen Burnie, Maryland, okay, you're hurting yourself, right? So you need to find the right words and content. Just setting that up, pretty much a no-brainer. There's the 50 or 100 things, content pieces that any internet marketer would do, okay? The tougher part is to make these changes on a very frequent basis. There is no set it and forget it in search optimization. None, okay? It is a medium to long-term strategy. You need to be patient. Wait the 4 to 6 months that it really takes to make something happen. If you get lucky on month 1 or 2, fabulous. But over a 5-year time span, and you guys are at this conference, you should have a 5-year time horizon. Over a 5-year time span, and probably much quicker, this will raise your ranking on Google. And as Monica said, the less you'll be paying for ads, and the more they'll come up as free. Because a lot of folks still think that those natural or organic results are the real results. The truth of the matter is, a real result is any time they click to get to you. And anytime that click turns into a call, anytime that call turns into a job, okay? But you've got to be on page 1. You've got a lot more competitors than you used to. There are national companies that are coming in, infringing on your territory. You've got to make sure that you're optimizing your marketing strategy for that. Okay, so there's on-site optimization, there's off-site optimization. The off-site part is this. It's very simple. The more people that link to you, and the more powerful their websites are in the eyes of Google, the more Google thinks your website is relevant. So there's a strategy, a very specific strategy of getting links into your website so that Google will think that you are important and it will raise your ranking, okay? Simply put, with my 45 seconds for this slide, that's what I got for you. So you have to figure out how are you going to get links into your website, and they're really easy methods. If you're a member of a club, get the club to post a link. If you're business partners with other people outside of tree care, get them to put a link, trade a link back and forth. Get one from the association, get one from a blog post that you might put up there. There are lots of secret ways to do this, and a lot of not so secret ways to do this. But the bottom line is, the more outside links you have back to you, the better you look in Google's eyes. That's going to get you higher. There is a strategy for this, and it's just called work. It's like time and materials work to go get links from the outside world and bring them in. You can do it yourself, you can pay somebody to do it, but you should be doing this because your competitors hopefully aren't, and you need a leg up. Okay, let's keep moving. There are, how am I doing on time? Good. There are some incredible things that now are going beyond search optimization. So having a great site, doing search optimization, doing social media, which we'll talk about in a moment, are super important. One of the most amazing things that's happened in the last 1.5 or 2 years is the ability to use geo-targeted ads, those display ads that you see now on your mobile phone, or you see when you're reading the news, or when you're following your sports team, or whether you're checking the weather, all those ads now used to just be thrown up there in the hopes that you might be somebody that would be interested in that. Those days are gone. It's incredible. Google, Facebook, and Apple, to just mention three, know everything about us, okay? Your phone right now, they know where you are, okay? Now that's scary to some of us, okay? I mean, the NSA knows anyway. But it's scary, but it's also really cool because for you, you can put that to work on finding customers. So the next couple slides are essentially about how you bring customers into your website that fit a geo-target. What I mean by that is, hey, if you're in Washington, D.C., and you want customers in Bethesda, Maryland, which is one of the wealthiest towns in Maryland, okay, you can get ads delivered to people that are in the zip code 20817, 20816, and 20814. You don't have to send the ads anywhere else. You just send them to those people in those zip codes. What's more, you can also send them to people in those zip codes who are only single-family homeowners. Like, if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what does. You know, you're in the wrong session, okay? Because it used to be you'd pay for ads that didn't matter. Like my son would see them, okay? And he's not using tree care services for quite a while, all right? The simple fact is you can target these things. And when you get people to your website, this amazing thing happens. So Monica mentioned you have to have these tracking pixels and so forth. What happens is you now can bring somebody to your website, and then let's say they leave because they were just investigating, or maybe they had to do the dishes because their spouse was yelling at them, and maybe their boss came in while they were on their desktop at work trying to research what to do about the trees, right? Okay, and so they leave your site. Well, now you can serve them a banner ad the next time that they're watching CNN on their laptop, okay? Because we can now get ads targeted back to someone who has been on your website. It's actually an incredibly easy strategy for any of us to employ. If you have questions about it, ask Monica, ask Hans, ask Casey who's up front, ask Alon who's in the back. They'll raise their hand at the end. But it's an unbelievable thing, and you all should be doing it. Because basically, this is how Amazon markets. Raise your hand if you've ever shopped for something on Amazon, didn't buy it, and then the next day saw the ad for the same damn product. Anybody? How would you like to do that for your business? Okay, what if I told you you could do that for $500 a month? It's unbelievable. Maybe that seems like a lot of money, but not compared to getting ads and the ROI you get and putting ads in front of people that have already been to your website. Mind-blowing. I've been doing this since the internet began. It's incredible. You have to take a look at this. Okay, so you could double your leads because anybody that came to you the first time and didn't bite, now you got a second bite at the apple, or a third, or a fourth, or a fifth. Or how about serving that ad 20 times until your tree care company is the only company they know. Unbelievable. Let's move the tape here. The Weather Channel is a really great example of this zip code targeting, okay? And essentially, the Weather Channel, other than Google and Facebook, knows more about customer search habits. Maybe not your search habits, but customer search habits, because the Weather Channel is on your iPhone. The Weather Channel is checked every day by a lot of us because we got to figure out, are the kids' soccer game going to get rained out? Right? What am I doing about picking up my kids over here? How am I dressing today? People check the Weather Channel 5, 6, 7 times a day. So if you can go to the Weather Channel and place an ad there, knowing that they're just checking the zip code, Bethesda, Maryland 20817, boom, you're in front of somebody multiple times for a penny an ad, okay? Unbelievable. I'm starting to sound like a presidential candidate, which is not what I mean to sound like, okay? I'm just excited because the things that are happening that we're going to talk about empower you to spend less money to get more business, okay? And I gave this talk 3 years ago, and I gave this talk 5 years ago, and I gave this talk 9 years ago. This stuff didn't exist. You have to take advantage of it. So at the end of the day, the geo-targeted ads and retargeting up the ante for you. They are a no-brainer. Ask any of us how to do it, and we'd love to help you figure out how to put that to work for your business. If you can't do this on your own, and some of you can do this on your own, there are lots of companies that do these things. If you can't, I need you to ask yourself these questions, okay? Because if someone, as Monica said, there are so many bad actors out there, and you have 3 great actors here. That's what Diane and TCIA did for you. So they gave you some actors that can give you some education, that won't be selfish about it, that just want your best interest in mind, okay? If you can't do it on your own, make sure you're working with someone familiar with your industry, okay? The Yellow Page ad reps don't know squat about tree care. That's it. They have a sales quota and some stuff to sling. And then they send it off to someone in the Philippines to work on it, okay? What you need is someone who understands your business and understands internet marketing, okay? It's not that hard to find. You've got 3 of us right here. There are 10,000 web companies. A bunch of them also do work for tree care companies. But you also need to be concerned about the contracts you sign. You shouldn't have to sign an incredibly lengthy contract. People should earn your money and provide the service and do it every month, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, okay? And you have to stay up on the web trends. You need to make sure that people that are working for you understand that. I was chatting with some fellows over there, they've got web guys, they think they're doing a great job. Ask them these questions. Make sure you're holding them accountable to this. Like everything else, as Monica said, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. There's no, despite the jargon, there's no rocket science, okay, about web marketing. It is simply time and materials, effort, intelligence, knowledge. Decide whether to put it to work with your own staff, with your friends, or a vendor. Ask these questions. Okay, we're going to go to the next slide. Like Monica, I want to make sure that you can get some information from us. And so Alon and Casey prepared a special SEO report where you're ranking for every company that pre-registered. So if you haven't gotten your report, find Alon in the back corner and he will do that for you, okay? You also can email, come to booth 2125, that's fine, but you can also email us at tcia@marketharbor.com for any web marketing question. You will not get a sales pitch. You will get an answer or some questions to ask about your web marketing. We're all 3 of us about the education. So email us at tcia@marketharbor.com and we will help you get from here to there, from A to B. I'm going to hand this over to Hans right now. Hans, tell us about social media, tell us about video, tell us about all the cool things that you're doing, because it's pretty mind-blowing.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm so happy you guys came today. As Brian said, you guys being here puts you in the top percentage of people in our industry. It is so important. Web presence is so important. And you can see the excitement that we have up here. Why? Because we have seen the results. We see what the potential is and where it can go in the future. So important. So important. So, real quick, let's revive. Everybody stand up. Stand up. Okay, because I see you, David. I see you. Okay? All right, stretch. Let's go. Okay? Stretch.
Thank you, Hans.
All right? And now I want to get everybody up to the front because we're going to rally. Let's go.
Bring it up.
Get up to the front. We're going to rally. Let's go. I want everybody. Mike, you too. In the back. Let's go. Everybody up in the front.
Good call. Good call.
Come on. Because you know what? This is an 8 a.m. class, and I want to make sure that every other class knows that the web presence class was the best class this morning. Yeah. So we are going to rally. Okay? Let's do a slow clap. Get up in the front. Everybody up here. Come on. Get tight. We're all friends. Come on. Okay? And then we're going to move on. There's studies say that you guys get excited, you learn more. You get the oxygen. All right? So let's go. Let's do a slow clap. Ready? Now let it out. Woo! Woo! One more time, louder. Woo! All right, great. Thanks, everybody. Now we can get started. Okay? As you can see, I'm very passionate about this industry. And I personally branded myself to mimic that excitement in the field, at work, every day, so that my customers and my peers know that I am a believer in this business and that I know what I'm doing. Okay? So, all right. So, social media. Standard definition. I want to know, does anybody have a separate definition? What do you think what social media is? Somebody, can I get one person to tell me what they think social media is?
Facebook.
Facebook? Great. You get a prize. Come on.
Thank you.
All right, got one guy. All right, we're excited. Let's keep it going, people. All right, so websites and other online means of communication that are used by large groups of people to share information and develop social and professional contacts. Okay? I'm going to try and keep this really short. But how can you use it for benefits? How can you use it correctly and understand what you're doing? So who am I to talk about social media? Go ahead. Where's that remote? Oh, here we go.
Go back.
As of 5 minutes ago, I had 9,141 followers, and by the end of the day, I'll have 25 to 60 new followers on social media, just from my interactions with people at the show, and by the way that I use hashtags and geotagging. People will actually find me and follow my content based on my profile. I started using Instagram to connect with other industry contributors, and I've always worked with my father and wanted to see how other people do it. So I originally used it as a learning tool to post projects and see what my peers thought of the work that I did and try to get some feedback, because at the time I wasn't the most knowledgeable arborist, but I knew that there are other people out there that could help me. So I was using it as an educational tool. And that morphed into more of a consumer-based tool where I would show people, this is a similar project that I've worked on in the past, and this is what your project could be similar to. It's hard in our business. You're selling a promise. You're not selling a lamp. You're not selling an iPad where they could look at it and say, oh, I don't know, or oh, this is great. You know, so to have a social media page where they can go and see the interactions that you have with your customers or other people, it makes you very credible. So, times are changing, and they've changed. They've already changed. So, the food we eat, the way we communicate. How many of you started your business just using a landline phone? Exactly. Now we have email, texting. My dad goes, he gets on the phone, he goes, text me your information. I'm like, whoa. You know, my dad's been in business for 40 years, and you know, it's hard for, you know, the older guys that, you know, they wrap their heads around this stuff sometimes. You know, they're used to holding the saw all day. You know, they're used to being out there, you know, working the crews. You know, so for them to go from, you know, in the field to, you know, behind the computer, it's a really big, you know, it's a jump, and it's intimidating. So my message that I want to get to you, across to you guys as a class today, is do not let the intimidation scare you. You get into social media, get a profile, sign up for an account, and just start. That's the easiest way. You will be so surprised how much you will learn and grow as a company, as a person. So just a couple of facts. Over 3 billion people use the internet. 21 billion devices will be connected to the internet by 2020. During the presidential election, Facebook usage increased by 30%, okay? And Twitter doubled their traffic. It's incredible. That's billions and billions of tweets, billions and billions of posting. By the next election, there will be 21 billion interactions. Google's the most visited site in the world. Oops, I missed the slide. So I always joke around and say how I'm one of the oldest Facebook users in the world. I'm in the top 5% of the oldest Facebook users in the world. I started using Facebook 1 month after it launched in 2004 when they only had 100,000 users. By the end of 2004, they had 1 million. And now they have 1.55 billion active Facebook users, 175 million members connect every moment. So let's get down to the real business. So there's Google. The number 2 most searched site is YouTube. And you know what you do? You make videos. You go to your customers. When you meet with your customers, they always have the same few kind of generic questions. If you can make a short video and post it to your YouTube page, example, people don't know what removing a stump means. Is it ground? Is it pulled out? You made a YouTube video that says XYZ tree service, how we remove a stump. That is huge. That alone will get you traffic to your website or to your page, to your YouTube page. That stuff pops up top of Google. YouTube pops up top of Google. And you can it's a great way to educate the consumer. And doctors do it. Doctors hold, they hold surgery meetings where they bring in 50 of their clients at a time to describe the same process they're all going through instead of sitting down with each one of them. It's the same thing. You're saving yourself time by explaining the questions in advance that they're going to ask when you go and meet them at the door. You're answering those questions and your business is tagged to that. So, why am I here? Instagram. I'm one of the largest Instagram contributors in the world in the tree industry. It is my personal choice for anybody who wants to get into social media. It's the best way to it's an easy way for you to show your skills and show how you do them. Pictures, it's basic. Like or don't like. Comment or don't comment. Okay? Geotagging your photos or posts is so important. Your local municipalities, if you tag your posts, your town or the town you're working in, people look at those towns and say, oh, I'm in this town, let's see what's going on. Your post will show up on those pages. So if you tag your posts to those locations, people will see them and you will get calls. I used it to establish credibility amongst my peers and clients, eventually leading to well-developed advocates. Does anybody know what a business advocate is for a prize? Anybody? No?
A business advocate would be the one that is promoting the company, advocating for what the company does.
Okay. David gets a prize. I'm almost done. Good job, David.
Oh.
Advocates are the best, okay? You want to know why? Because when somebody slams you online with a bad review, those are the people that defend you. Those are your customers that will stand up for you and say, no, you're wrong. You don't have to defend yourself. Business don't have to say anything. You got your customers defending you. And when you promote for them, when you say, I'm going to do, do you have a Facebook page? Do you have an Instagram? I'm going to take a couple of pictures. Let me, can I tag you in them? They're so happy. If they're happy with the results, they're happy to stand up for you. These people have especially people who are digitally inclined, they have just like you, they have their own digital reputation, okay? They want to say, oh yeah, I know a guy, I got a tree guy, they're going to take care of you. They want to be able to say that they referred you to them, to us. And they will defend you to the very end. Question?
I have a problem with Google. I've had 3 people go on iReviews, negative reviews, and I told my web guy about it. The only course of action is to fight fire with fire and either call them out on it or have our customers go on and post positive things that were done. But the information is still there.
It will always be there.
And they've never been a customer. It's a straight lie. And
That's tough.
it's ridiculous. So the only other way I thought it was I joined the BBB, which I completely hate.
The BBB is a scam.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it right now.
But, I mean,
It's pay to play,
yeah.
okay?
But I went on there and all our customers will go on there and do positive reviews. It's great. I'll link it to our website. But I just can't stand what Google does there.
Listen, take your positive reviews, post them on your website, copy them, and write. You can do your own testimonial page, and you can choose which reviews you want to post on your page. They're going to your website no matter what, whether they see the reviews or not. If you take your top 10 reviews, post them, say the first name of the person and the town they're from, that's all you need. That will squash any bad reviews.
But Google doesn't even search for, like, there's no credit behind it. I mean, I could go on, that's one of my competitors, crap on them, it's not right. I heard that Angie's List actually, there's a background check on the.
Sure. Talk to me after, okay? Oh, so reputation. I'm already ahead of myself. Okay. So what are you waiting for? Social media. Free to use. You can do it yourself. I love doing it on the road. There's tons of people in here that Bart's Tree Care, great social media page. Check them out. They do before and after pictures. You're posting engaging content. You could do it at lunchtime. The hardest part is just getting the content, and that's one of the things that I do best is capturing engaging content. You can start anywhere. Just start snapping pictures. Start recording video. Whether you use it or not, you have it. Okay. Don't be afraid to pull your phone out of your pocket. Don't be afraid to get a GoPro. You know, we use them all the time. They're easy. Whether you use the content or not, you got the content. And you can come up with creative posts and just have something. So understanding your options. There's Facebook. There's millions of social media platforms, but we're going to focus on Facebook, Instagram. As you can see, the users. But Facebook is more about content and images, where Instagram is more about just the images and the videos. So in terms of getting our message across, I think Instagram is a great tool to get started. You won't see results right away because obviously you have to build up a following. You have to share your page with your friends, and they'll promote for you. But once you develop a nice portfolio, a nice profile, people will look at it. They will look. I have people that go back a couple hundred posts, and they've looked all the way down at the bottom and they like something. I'm like, oh man, how many stuff did they have to go through to get that picture? They looked at everything I did in the past 6 months. So Facebook's more about creating a brand awareness, which is great. I got my success from branding myself, and then my company second. People liked that my face was the face that matched the brand. They like that warm feeling that somebody's attached to the company, not just a beautiful, well-designed, business card and a website. That there's actual person to it. So I personally got success in branding myself in the industry as a tree professional. Instagram I like is kind of like behind the scenes, like the work and then how we did it, and people like that. They don't like just the standard advertising. Behind the scenes, the saws, sharpening the saws, the gear that we use, the climbing. So it's great. It's just something that you have to do. The content is so important though. So create an account, find your interests, invite your friends, previous customers. Search for hashtags, engage with people, don't be shy, go on Facebook, talk to people, ask them questions, what would you do for this? Do posts about the seasons and how they affect your plants and your trees. So, that's it, I'm done. I appreciate your time and coming out this morning.
Excellent, thank you, Hans. Okay guys, we need you to stay in your seats for 60 more seconds. We've got some information about CEUs in just a second. So the 30-second wrap. 3 folks who know a lot about marketing in the tree care business, specifically about the web. Multiple different strategies. Test out every one of them at some point in the next year. Maybe you're doing it at a $0 level because you're doing it yourself. Maybe you're spending a couple $100, which is probably way too little. Maybe you're spending what you need to market in your area. But on behalf of the 3 of us, I encourage you to experiment, try, ask people for help, buy web marketing services just the same way you would buy your equipment. There's no difference. Ask any of the 3 of us for help and assistance and guidance. We're here for your education. We're here to help you. We hate it when folks in your business blow good, hard-earned money on bad web marketing, okay? That's the bottom line. Ultimately, sure, would any of us love to help you? Yes, but it's about getting you what you need. That's why you came to this expo. That's why TCIA puts on the kind of education that it does. We're going to have another session come in about 10-15 minutes. And so we'll take a couple minutes. We will stay here as long as we can. Once we are done here, we'll transition outside into the chairs area there. Find one of us. You've just seen the three of us. Alon and Casey, where are you? Just stand up and wave. There's Alon. There's Casey. Find one of the five of us so that we can get you on your way. Everybody's got a business card. I want to make sure that I mention two quick things. Hans, how do people reach you if they want to reach you?
I have a bunch of business cards that I'll hand out myself.
Okay, great. And you already got from Monica the text code, right? Which is 44222, correct? Okay, great. And you can email us at tcia@marketharbour.com. Any of us will be happy to send you the presentation. In fact, I've got the presentations. We can zip them up. I can send them to you, but we all have our presentation materials. So, so email us. We'll get those to you. So if you didn't take great notes, don't worry about it. I will send them to you. You just got to get connected with Casey or Alon about that. So with that said, I'd like to ask our representative from TCIA to talk about CEUs. Thank you for being here, and have a great and profitable upcoming year. Let's give Monica and Hans a big hand.